Hey, now listen, don't go anywhere because in just a moment we're going to be catching up with Richard Armitage.
And we'll be revealing the results of Gok's makeover mission. Welcome back to This Morning. Thank you for joining us. Now, Richard Armitage has appeared in some of our all-time favourite dramas, from Spooks to The Stranger and, more recently, Red Eye.
And now he's diving back into the world of audiobooks. He's here to tell us about his new thriller, The Cut. Richard, so lovely to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about The Cut. Where has the idea come for this?
Oh, gosh, the original seed of the idea came from a real conversation I had in a cemetery back in my hometown.
Casual.
Just a casual little chat with a bloke who was laying flowers, and he came to me and said, "I'm really sorry for what we did to you at school, and you've done really well for yourself." And I kind of walked home with my dad and couldn't remember him, and my dad remembered him, and we had a conversation about who he was, and I just thought, actually, that's a really good premise for a story. And the story started as a tale of revenge and turned into a story about atonement.
So this has come from literally nowhere. You're in a cemetery, you don't know who this guy is, and then it turns out this guy was a bit of a bully.
But well, I think he just saw what was happening.
Right.
And but yeah, little doors started opening in my brain. So it became a lot of anecdotes of childhood and school days that became the structure of the story. So half of it's set in 1993, half of it's set in the present day.
And we like stuff like
yeah.
that, don't we?
So is there a big message in this, you know, that things that happen to you in childhood do remain with you for life?
Yeah, and one of the things that happens in the present day is that a film crew comes back to the village to make a found footage horror film about a murder that happened in 1993, but the movie is not quite what it seems.
Right. And with the two timelines, when you're writing something like this, I mean, it's almost like writing two parallel versions of the same story.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's the same people that have grown up now.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Lee, I don't want to ruin anything, but obviously you're following that story as well. Did you ever get confused at any point? You think, oh, no, it's not 90-odd.
Yeah, well, what I had to do was really separate it, and I used kind of coloured cue cards, and I wrote...
Really?
I wrote the past tense, the past 1993 in the present tense, and I wrote the present day in the past tense. So
you like a challenge, then?
I like a challenge.
Could have made it easy.
Yeah, and also just the language of 1993 was because I was speaking through the voices of teenagers. It just sounded different. Yeah.
Very different.
And you've gone straight in with Audible. Like, I would have, you know, normally you expect to see a book first. How come you've gone straight in with the audio version?
This was a commission from Audible. The first book, Geneva, was also the same route. So they asked me, they came to me and said, would you be interested in writing? Because I've read a lot of crime thriller for them. And I think they saw how successful they were for other authors, and they said, how about writing something yourself? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. So.
And you, with The Cut as well, you're voicing one of the characters.
Yeah, the present day.
And you've brought a co-star along with you. So who's on there?
So it's Jacob Dudman, who played my son in The Stranger. And when I was writing, I was thinking, who could tackle this and handle it really well? I need a youthful-sounding voice, but somebody that can do lots of different characters, young teenage girls, teenage boys, my school teachers. And Jacob was the first person that came to mind, and he said yes.
So who's who? Who's who in it? So who are you playing?
I play all of the characters in the present day, and he plays all of the characters in the past.
This is surreal.
Yeah.
So the audiobook, this is your second, because Geneva was just so popular that it's actually been turned into, is it a screenplay now?
Yeah, I'm working with Sony Pictures to develop it into a television show, so we are in the early stages of development. I mean, never in a million years did I imagine that something like that would be happening.
That's your first foray into this.
It is,
and now you're looking at the screenplay as well.
Oh,
and not
well
only the
done.
screenplay as well, it's done so well, now it's coming out in the paperback.
Yeah, paperback on September 12th, so yeah, I'm going to be running around the country selling paperback books.
Quite talented in this, aren't you?
Oh.
You're doing all right, Rich, you're doing all right. And The Cut as well. Am I right in saying it's quite a special day for you next week?
Yeah, Audible decided to release the book on my birthday.
On your actual birthday?
And the strangest thing, and I'd forgotten this, is it's also Jacob Dudman's birthday.
So not only do you share a birthday, none of this was planned.
No.
You've got present, we've got past, you've got the same birthday.
Yeah.
The audiobook's coming out on the same day.
Yeah.
And you're at the Fringe.
And we're at the Edinburgh TV
Festival.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, my goodness.
I know, auspicious, right?
I mean, you do try your hand at a lot of things, and some weird that you tried to run away with a circus at 17. that right?
That was in the days, I don't know, you may remember this, the days when you had to have an equity card to audition for anything. And I didn't have an equity card, so I went to Budapest for 8 weeks. I went out as a 14-stone, 6'3" guy, and I came back half my size, but waving an equity card in my hand. And
a hula hoop in the
And
other.
a hula hoop and a ladder. And a
Riding an elephant.
And my mum was like, sit down, I'm going to feed you shepherd's pie, because I was skinny as
What
anything.
did you do in the circus? What was your job?
I was throwing hula hoops over
we go.
skateboarders, holding ladders for jugglers, and doing a little bit of dancing, maybe, with some feathers. But yeah.
We've all done
It's
that.
not on video, that's all I'm saying.
We'll find it.
Don't even think about it.
I'm going to Budapest to find that footage. Richard, you've done so much when it comes down to the acting as well. The Hobbit was such a massive role for you.
Yeah.
What was it like when you got that call and then flew out there to do it?
You know, whenever people say to me, what's the most significant piece of work you've ever done, my brain association, I remember the moment I landed in New Zealand, because you're literally flying to the other side of the planet, and there's something so familiar about New Zealand culture. And I remember sitting in the car and the sun was shining, and I just thought, I never dreamed that something like this would happen to somebody like me. And I'd loved that book since a child.
Oh.
And I got there as a 40-year-old, and I was playing this character that I'd loved and followed, and then went to meet, you know, the legend that is Peter Jackson, and the rest is history, really. So
What a moment.
big moment.
Well, somebody who's a massive fan of yours is Harlan Coben, and he writes some serious thrillers that you are just on the edge of your seat with. And one recently with Michelle Keegan was Fool Me Once, and it had me...
Oh, everyone.
Oh.
It was going on about it, wasn't it?
It was huge, absolutely huge. How was that, and how was the reaction? Because everyone was watching it, everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think those shows have really built from the 5, and you know, I joined when they did The Stranger, and then we did Stay Close, and then Fool Me Once. His writing is addictive. You know, you open a new Harlan Coben and you think, here we go, I'm in for a roller coaster ride. And he never, ever disappoints you. He's like the master of the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So it's sort of perfect for television adaptation. And I'm about to do, I think they call it a poker, isn't it? Like a hat trick is 3 goals.
Right.
A poker's 4. So I'm about to do number 4.
Well, you said you weren't going to do it anymore.
I know.
And then you got a bit of a funny phone call.
It's irresistible. They call you and go, come on, would you do number 4? And I'm like, I'm never going to say no to you guys. They're like family.
But you'd said no. You'd said, no, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Well, I said, Is
this part of the bargaining?
Is it a little bit inappropriate? But they were like, come on. And it was my good friend, Rosalind Eleazar, who I did Uncle Vanya with, who's the lead actress, and she's phenomenal. And Lenny Henry, I couldn't say no.
You
couldn't
can't
say no.
So Lenny Henry will be in the next one?
Yeah.
Oh, and will it be on Netflix?
Yes, and I believe I think it's early January 2025, yeah.
I cannot wait for that.
Got long to wait
oh,
for
I'm
that.
on the edge of my seat with those ones, honestly. And that one, that is one of my favourites of all time. You're fabulous.
Literally loved it. Richard, it's such a pleasure to meet you and have you on the show. The Cut comes out on Audible on Thursday, the 22nd of August, which is also your birthday. So happy birthday
Thank you.
next week. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't party too hard in Edinburgh, please. All right?
Thanks for having me.
And we're going to find that video from Budapest. We've already got a crack team on their case.